Hi, in this video I just want to give you a quick view of a pretty well designed descriptive spreadsheet model. So if you are developing a model that is going to be distributed, for example, to other users, you want to make it as simple, you want to make it meaningful, you want to keep it well organized so it's easy to maintain later on. So one design suggests you basically take a model, and again, after perhaps using an influence chart to sort out the decisions, the key outputs, the input parameters, etc., you then divide the spreadsheet into three main worksheets. So this first worksheet that I'm showing you is called the manager page, and that is meant to provide the input and output for a user. So again, you've created this model, and the one that we're going to just kind of walk through is the Rangeley Lakes model that you're already familiar with. So on this page, you want the users to be able to affect the key decisions. And for this particular case, one of the key decisions, of course, was how many of each of the different products to produce. So over here to the upper left, and we've got it in a bright yellow color. So you want to have a particular color scheme designated for input or for decisions, for example. In this case, we're going to use yellow shaded cells. And you can, to make it easy for the user, you can use spinners, for example. You can have these up or down spinners. In this case, I've got them set for 50 units per click. Or you could just have them input the values into the given cells. So again, on this manager page, we've got the ability to affect the key decisions that the user would want to play with. Also on this page would be if there are particular, say, input data parameters that are not necessarily known for sure. And those are the ones over here in the light blue. So if you recall from the case, they had an estimate for what the lumber price would cost in terms of price dollars per board foot, but they weren't exactly certain on that. I mean, it's a commodity and it can go up or down from there. So you provide these on the manager page to allow them to explore what starts to happen to profitability if in fact your lumber price increases or decreases. Also, what was not wholly certain was the available lumber. In this case, I think the case originally said 25,000 board feet, and also the available labor hours. So again, you're identifying parameters perhaps that have the greatest likelihood of changing somewhat, and that's what you're going to make it easy for the user to affect. Now, so these top two areas, the input decisions in yellow and the potentially changeable parameters in light blue, those would represent the key inputs, I guess. Now, everything else on the page is an output. So over here on the left, in the green shaded cell, you've got the total net profit, just a summary, 17,300 for the given plan and the given parameters. And over on the right here, you've got the resource utilization, because one of the things you think about it, you'd want to keep a careful eye on is that as you are increasing the, for example, the number of products you're choosing to manufacture, you want to keep a careful eye on labor utilization and lumber utilization. And this worksheet has some features built into it. So if you notice, under the lumber utilization and labor utilization reports, it's got the indication of OK, which means you have some amount of board feet remaining, or you've got some amount of labor hours remaining. But you notice as you pressure the production amounts to a certain extent, then you will have, in this case, it'll point out an error in that you're now going to exceed your labor hours. And this can all be done by conditional formatting, data validation, etc. So this would be, again, helpful for the user in that it indicates, hey, when you're starting to choose a potentially infeasible production quantity. So we'll go back to there. Also, which again is sort of useful in this case, is to show the net profit by product down here in the lower left. So that's just simply a report out chart that is simply calculates or just reports the relative values of net profit contributed by the two separate products. And it's pretty obvious here that even under identical production quantities, that the wall hangings are much more profitable than the decoys. And so again, that's valuable information because it gives that user a sense in terms of what the marginal contribution is by product type. Again, helpful in terms of determining those decisions. Now again, this is theoretically the only worksheet that a user would have to deal with. Again, it's got the key input parameters that they may want to adjust, and it's also got the ability for them to indicate the decisions related to production amounts. The other two worksheets in this workbook consist of the following. On one worksheet, we have what's called the constants page. And on this page, we've got basically the parameters of the constants that are going to be used throughout our calculations. So for example, the decoy board feet is 2.9. That means for making one of the mallard decoys, you're going to use 2.9 board feet per unit per decoy, basically. You'll notice that's just a given number, and that's an input here. It's not expected to change. To change that in the model, you would actually have to come to this page and make that change. Same thing goes with the decoy labor hour and the decoy price. Those are all considered to be sort of fixed input parameters. Same thing goes for the again the wall hanging, board feet, labor hour, and the resulting price. Now, you'll notice that the labor hour cost is fixed. It's a fixed value of 10.7. But you'll notice the lumber cost, by the way, is being pulled from the manager page. You remember that was one of the input parameters that they weren't exactly sure about, and so we put that on the manager page to allow the user to change that. So this named range called lumber cost, which is named right at this location, is actually, again, pulling it from the manager page. So it's just in a case where we've got a parameter that the user may want to change, the ultimate numerical value will appear on the manager page, and here on the constants page we're actually referring to that value via a simple equation, or just simple formula that says equal to the cell on the manager page. Now again, I will point out that all of these input parameters do indeed have named ranges, because that's what we're going to use in our calculations. Now our calculations are all put on a page called calculations in this case. Now key point about this is that there are essentially no numerical values on this page. You'll notice that in each case I'm clicking on it, it's equal to some type of a cell reference or a named range. And so this is where you very, very nicely step through all of the intermediate calculations that you would have identified in the construction of the influence chart. Down here, we're calculating the utilizations. We're pulling some values in terms of available labor, for example, from the manager page. Same thing with available lumber. And we're calculating those resulting utilizations. So again, key things are these are not, there's no numerical values in here. They're all formulas. But these formulas, again, should make really good use of the named ranges that you declared in other parts of the model. So again, that's just kind of a quick walkthrough characteristics. It's easy to use from the manager page. Extensive use of named ranges in a sort of a logical fashion. A well thought out set of meaningful inputs and outputs on the manager page. And again, the theory is if you do a good job doing an influence chart for the construction of a model, it's very simple and straightforward to then move from the influence chart to a working descriptive spreadsheet model. So that's just a quick walkthrough with some key characteristics. So with that, we'll sign off, and good luck with your model constructions.